What's going on YouTube? It's Risky Ryan back here to do a little stock analysis. We're going to hit the S&P, the Qs, we're going to hit the semis, we're going to hit the small caps, Mag 7, and some other stocks that I spotted, and we'll do some crypto as well. Before we dive in, here is my disclaimer. Trading is risky. This is my opinion only and not financial advice. Trade at your own risk, but I do hope that you learn something. And if you do, if you find value out of this video, if you could hit that like button, it would be greatly appreciated. So today was a bit disappointing in the stock market. I think we would agree. We have the Dow whipping around everywhere, the NASDAQ softening, that was the weakest. S&P 500 was down, and the Russell started off really strong and came back to where the previous close was. And it does appear there's some cracks forming in a number of sectors. So let's take a look. First, we're going to look at the ETFs. Some things to notice: technology got hit hard, semis got hit hard. Large cap growth hit hard. Large cap value did okay, so that's interesting. Mid caps got hit. Small caps kind of flat, but this is what's worrisome to me. So it looks like there's a big de-risking going on, and based on these patterns, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think there's two things going on right now. You've got Middle East is starting to roll up again. You know, if the Middle East had a VIX, that would start to be going in a bullish formation, if you know what I mean. You do have U.S. oil, crude oil up 3%, gold and silver up modestly. And then you have consumer staples. You've got utilities and energy and oil production doing really well today. These are usually defensive positions. So this is what people invest in when they want to be invested, but they think there might be some kind of event coming. Between NVIDIA's earnings on Wednesday, which is that main event, and what could happen over the next week or two in the Middle East, there seems to be more potential negative catalysts than positive catalysts. So, before Wednesday, I wouldn't really take too much of this to heart until Wednesday, but it does look like Wall Street is kind of positioning themselves for, you know, they're kind of de-risking. Now, if you look at the S&P 500, you're going to notice Costco did well today. Energy, you know, these, whenever this section right over here in the heat map does well, that's usually defensive plays, you know, like a Philip Morris and, you know, Altria are doing well. Now, some of these stocks people are rolling into because the interest rates are coming down and they want the dividends. So that's also a thing. You also have Lockheed Martin doing well today, Northrop Grumman. I wouldn't, these aren't really, I actually closed my position in Lockheed Martin just because I got a big chunk of the move, and I think that there are some stocks rolling over, like the title of this video said. But yeah, financials did all right. Healthcare was kind of mixed, but yeah, tech getting hit pretty hard. Some concerning developments with Microsoft and Meta. And Tesla's, well, let's just dive into the charts and I'll show you what I mean. So first, let's take a look at the S&P 500. So these are Heikin-Ashi candles. One sec here. Okay, so we did butt our head into the arc and we closed below it. So that doesn't mean game over or anything, but you know, basically we're not really in here yet, and we do want to get in there. The cloud is going to give us some support at about 553, call it 555. You know, in a couple days, if we do retrace to go down, 555 is going to be a support level underneath. All right, I want to move kind of quickly. I do have a lot I want to cover here. Qs are just kind of stuck in the cloud here. Not really very bullish what I'm seeing on the Qs, unfortunately. you do have what appears to be a rollover coming, and you do have this gap, and the bottom of this gap sits at 464. Taking a look at the Russell, closed right where this one closed. You know, typically if you look at a weekly chart, you very rarely see a green candle that doesn't have some kind of lower wick. So, you know, this could just be us getting that lower wick before we can push higher. But there are certain concerns I have about the Russell. So these are the scenarios that I'm seeing, and I'd love to hear your comments below if you agree or if you disagree or what your thoughts are. Let's just take the Middle East thing and set it aside, because that's kind of like a black swan we can see coming. But if NVIDIA does not deliver, the stock trades down, I think that the rotation into the Russell will be locked in. You're going to see the market broaden in a strong way. That's what I'm going to be looking out for. However, what caused our big crash here? What caused our big crash here is the jobs data, unemployment data was kind of concerning. Then we got some conflicting evidence. We got a conflicting report that said, oh, you know, maybe it's not so bad. September 6th, mark your calendar, we get more unemployment data. In order for the Russell to rip, we need interest rates to come down, but we also need to make sure we're not heading into a recession, because a recession will hit smaller businesses harder than larger businesses. Makes sense, right? So what we could see over the next 2 weeks or week or so is if NVIDIA gets hit, you know, on earnings, and you see a rotation of the Russell, that might be an excellent trade, but I would expect to see some risk-off behavior as we head into the September 6th unemployment data. So, what I'm curious about your opinion. Please leave a comment below. Do you think NVIDIA is going to meet expectations? And by meet expectations, they have to exceed expectations. Do you think it's going to be enough to send the stock higher? What is your price target? And is there a way, you know, I've been kind of brainstorming how to position my portfolio in a way that will benefit if, you know, kind of like a hedge, but even if they do well, those hedges might do well as well. So I'm curious what your stock picks are, you know, over the next couple weeks, you know, in the scenario that NVIDIA does well or does bad. Obviously, if it does well, I would suspect that the mega cap trade might gain some steam again. But if it doesn't do well, I would suspect that there would be a broadening. So what is your play? How are you playing those earnings? And, you know, what is your opinion on the macro? Okay, so that's the Russell. Those are my thoughts on the Russell. Let's take a look at the Mag 7. I want to start with Microsoft because we have some seriously concerning developments happening right now. Now, on the bright side, I'm going to start with the bright side. On the bright side, we did hold the Gann angle today. We did hold this Gann angle today. Now, the Gann level did not hold, and we broke through moving averages, which is no bueno, right? It's no bueno. And if you take a look on my chart here, we popped the parabolic SAR, which indicates that we could be experiencing a down move. Now, where will it find support? Could this all change on Wednesday? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. But it's very concerning that we got above the 50-day moving average. We closed above it twice, and then we just sold off. And we sold off right through this Gann level. And we sold through the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. And we popped the parabolic SAR. Like, that is a powerful down move. Very powerful down move. So I'm considering reducing my position in Microsoft for the foreseeable future, maybe at least the quarter, next couple of months, something like that. And if you take a look at Heikin-Ashi candles, you're also seeing, you know, a concerning development. If you look at the monthly, this is what's very scary. If you look at the monthly, what you have is the beginnings, what it looks like are the beginnings of a down move. So, you know, if this gets really bad, like 350, you know, you could get, and you could look at it like this, you could get an opportunity to pick up Microsoft at 350. We don't have earnings until October. So, I mean, you're going to be putting up Halloween decorations before the next earnings. So Wall Street, it doesn't look like Wall Street loves this stock for this quarter. So yeah, considering reducing in this one. All right, let's take a look at Meta. Meta's the other one that was really strong, and then so let's take a look here. We closed under the GAN today. Let me take a look. Yes, we closed a candle under the GAN level today. I think there's going to be limited downside to this one. I really do. But you can't deny what you're seeing here. And if you look at Heikin-Ashi candles, that's usually what happens when there's volatility entering the name. So could we come back down to retest the arc at 506? We certainly could. And that would be a drop of about 2.4%. Really not the worst thing, but yeah, I mean, now if you were following the Ichimoku, you would have closed out of your position yesterday, and that might have been the smarter thing to do if you're day trading this or swing trading this. But I'm leaving mine on just because I think this quarter, Meta is going to be the best performer in the Mag 7. And part of that is because they're actually proving that they are profitable despite all the capex on AI spend. Speaking of AI spend, looking at NVIDIA, yeah, we're in a holding pattern, closing back in the cloud, but over the arc, 125. There is an implied 10% move on earnings, and that would put us below the cloud on the daily. Let's see if we look at a weekly, see if there are any levels that make sense at a 10% drop here. So yeah, so 113 would be the basically the level. Like I wouldn't, if you turn on your trading app and you're like, oh my god, Nvidia's at 114, like I wouldn't sell it, it's already too late. Like 113 is probably where it's going to find some support. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to go that way. I just, my gut feeling tells me like this has one more beastly earnings to do. Also, like the way that Wall Street bought this stock and just gobbled it up, and the way that they have been underweight NVIDIA and missed so much of this move, and they're probably like missing their benchmark going into the year. They need another pump on NVIDIA to catch up to their benchmarks. That's just, maybe it's a cynical way of thinking about how this market works, but you can't deny that there's some shenanigans that happen. So I actually think we're going to get a 10% move to the upside, and that would bring us back to 140, probably back up to the all-time highs, and you know, 155, 150, like that's where I think this thing, it's going to go there before this ride is over, you know, and I think it's going to go there by end of year. And if it goes there from right here by end of year, that's 22%. So yeah, long NVIDIA. I'm not selling my shares going into earnings, not reducing. I'm just accepting that, you know, we live and we die by this sword. Is kind of how I'm going with it. Tesla. Disappointing day today for Tesla. We're still under the cloud. We hit resistance and we couldn't do much. Let's look at the daily here. Yeah, we found some support at the Tenkan-sen. Looking at my chart. Oh shit. There we go. Tesla. You know, closing back under the downtrend line. Not awesome. Closing back under the 50-day. Not awesome, but finding some support at Tenkan-sen. This is another, I think, you know, I really had high hopes for this name going into this quarter. Just because I feel like Wall Street is done punishing this thing, especially after this move. This is like, okay, the ride, you know, it's over, but maybe not. So we'll just have to wait and see on Tesla, but I wouldn't be entering a new long position in this. You know, I would probably wait until September and see if this can get above the cloud again, like 220. That's probably what I would want to see, because then it would be up above moving averages, the downtrend line. It would turn this bullish. Everything would be in place for Tesla at that point. Yeah, so not looking beautiful for Tesla. Not really looking beautiful for many of the Mag 7 stocks. This looks promising, I guess. We created a big, strong hammer, little Thor hammer, but we can't get above this dang Gann angle. But the cloud is providing a ton of support, as well as the Tenkan-sen. So I think it's just this move, it's digesting before we can pump over. But this is another one. I really do think that this stock will just creep higher and creep higher as we get closer to the next iPhone cycle. What else do we got? Amazon finding support of Tenkan-sen again. So obviously we got really extended. It's come down, it's touched it, closed right at it. So, you know, are we at the bottom? Here, let's take a look at the oscillators for Amazon. So we got a gap here, 172, and we could see a wick come down to 170 before we get our upswing, but we did pop the parabolic star recently, so I don't know. Yeah, we could get a downswing and then an upswing, and this uptrend will just stay intact for a long time despite us coming down. So I'm holding my Amazon shares. I'm not going to bother reducing them, I don't think, because I don't want to miss the pump, because there is going to be a day we hit 235, and I'm not going to be missing that. Not going to be missing that. Google did good today because it's been doing so crappy so many other days. Forming a bit of a doji. Top of the doji, 169. Bottom of the doji, 166. A break over this doji might push us over this Gann level at 170. And if I were interested in investing in Tesla, you know, getting above that level would be like a requirement. Some other stocks of note: SOFI popped above the arc today. Beautiful move. It also moved down to close the gap, so there's no gap to fill. The Gann sits at 790. And this thing might actually be off to the races finally. Especially if the Russell continues to perform like it does. SOFI could be doing really good. Palantir closing under the Tenkan-sen today in a really ugly fashion. And you know how this thing goes. Could we see a 10% drop on this thing? I don't think so. Here, let's take a look at the weekly. Okay, scary, yeah, there's a big drop potential on this thing. I don't think it does this, man. I don't think it does it here. Let's just look at some more. Yikes. Yeah, everything's telling me this thing is rolling over, you guys. Pausing to sell my Palantir shares. All right, I just sold my shares. So this, to me, this is like, you know how Palantir does. It pumps and then it drops like 10%, or like it does like this crazy like downswing for like months, and then it rockets up. So I'm not interested in being a part of that. Could it find some support right here? I think maybe it could. This is our 50-day moving average. So, and it didn't pop the parabolic star yet, but like, it's gonna. I mean, let me know if I'm gonna be wrong, but This there's every MACD crossover, rollover on the RSI, closing under the Tenkan-sen. I mean, all the signs are there. Let's take a look at the Heikin-Ashi candles. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be able to pick these up at 29 bucks, maybe even 28 bucks. So yeah, I'm getting out, and we'll see about picking these up at a better price, because this is many indicators telling me like we're rolling over. So that's you know, trade at your own risk. You know, I'm not saying buy puts or anything, but that's what I'm seeing on this. Eli Lilly's just kind of like basing. Let's do this here. So we're just kind of basing. That's what this thing has done. It bases and then it pumps, and it bases and it pumps. So yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, so we're right at that all-time high, right at the 960 fib level. So I don't see any rollover happening, and it might just be waiting for the Tenkan-sen and everything to catch up to it. So that's a hold. If you see a good break over 960, like consistent, and especially if we like close a candle over it, that's kind of like a buy signal for Eli Lilly. Let's take a look at Lockheed Martin. Let me tell you why. Oh. Okay. So we closed over Tenkan-sen today, so the Ichimoku says go. We're super overbought. But this thing can stay overbought. Like, we were overbought right here. And it, you know, we do have resistance here at 569. But could you see like a break higher with a geopolitical event? I think you could. I think I'm gonna trade out those Palantir shares for some Lockheed Martin. What do you say? Let's buy a share of Lockheed Martin or two. Okay, so Lockheed Martin looked good. Let's take a look at Netflix. Holding the arc. Holding the arc, guys. That's nice. I like that. The arc sits at 687. You know, if this holds and we try to go back up, that's like a 2.67% return. Let's take a look at Heikin-Ashi's. So the Heikin-Ashis say no, but maybe, because this arc, like, they kind of negate each other in a way. Let's see if anything else. Ichimoku says yes. Okay, so we were just a little overbought, but it's curling back. Yeah, Netflix, yeah, you could take a trade on that, I think. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Obviously, we do have some overhead resistance around 700 bucks, but that might be something to keep an eye on. Costco. Look at that. We're coming for you, baby. We're coming for this arc. Sitting at 900 bucks. So this thing continues to roll ahead. Spotify. Closing under Tenkan-sen today, but we are in the arc, but that doesn't mean that we can't come all the way down here. Yeah, that's an ugly close. Look at that. Now, here's the thing, like, we had an excellent earnings. We closed the gap, so there's no need to go down there again. Maybe we retest these levels down here at 325, but I might even pick up another share if it does that for me. Yeah, so Spotify. Let's take a look at so we do have a MACD crossover. It's been like flirting with the MACD crossover, and then it just goes higher. So I don't know. probably wouldn't enter a new long position. Maybe, let's see here, 330 is right where the 50-day is sitting. We might have a date with that before moving higher. DoorDash is a stock I've been like trying to buy, but everything tells me don't do it yet, but I want to. We have a MACD crossover forming, maybe. Sure looks like it, don't it? And we're very close to the parabolic SAR. And my gut tells me that we're going to get an opportunity to buy this at about 124, 125. And so I think I'll be a buyer right there, especially if we get like a test, like a retest of this area that coincides with the 50-day. Then I will be looking to pick up some shares of this, because I really do think that this is one of those things. It's not going to go away. Like, everybody hates Airbnb, right? But yet the stock keeps going up. People, they keep making money, and everybody hates the fees, but they keep paying the fees. And that's the same thing with DoorDash. So I don't think anything's going to change there. I'm going to look at one more stock before I go to crypto, and it's going to be MasterCard. But if there is a stock you want me to take a look at, leave the comment below, and I'd be happy to take a look at it. MasterCard, just holding this GAN level, hugging it and loving it, and it won't close under. It closed under it yesterday, or Friday, came all the way down to touch the Tenkan-sen and pop back up, and now we're back above it. So I think MasterCard is like winding up to get out of the hole that it's been in. It looks like it's ready for its run, especially with the interest rates coming down and all that stuff. I think I like this. I like that it's in my portfolio, and I'm sticking with it. All right, Bitcoin had a great week last week, but we dropped back into the cloud. So yeah, I don't love that. We could be coming back down to retest this angle here again at like 62,000. Yeah, we had two dojis and we failed. So we're not. I don't think we're going to undo any of this action down here. But yeah, I think a retest of 62,244 is in the works. XRP also kind of, followed suit. We closed under the Tenkan-sen there. What else do we got? Ethereum kind of holding up over the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen, but the whole cloud is, and the whole Ichimoku's saying no. Doge closing under Tenkan-sen again. So we've undone this big push higher, and we're back down at like 10.5 cents. So that's not looking good for Dogecoin. Solana's in the cloud. Can't get over this GAN level 162, it looks like. All right, you guys. Well, yeah, so let me know if there's a stock or some kind of asset you want me to take a look at. Do I have a blind spot? I always love to ask you guys if I got a blind spot going, because if there's something I'm not considering, not talking about, that I should be looking at, please tell me so I can keep an eye on it. And yeah, if you haven't watched my weekend video from last week, I'm sure it'll be showing on the video right now. Check that out, because it kind of gives my thoughts on this upcoming week. And thank you so much for sticking it out. If you've watched the whole video so far and you're not subscribed, maybe consider becoming a subscriber. Hit that like button if you forgot to, and I will catch you on the next video. Risky Ryan out.